So home ownership is the Kiwi dream, okay, and that really hasn't changed. It's probably getting a little bit harder for you to achieve that, and I appreciate that. So I came here pregnant, had babies, worked out what was causing it, fixed that. So that you know, the house you buy when you start off to the house you end up in, you know, makes a difference, and it's about how you get to that point. So we had 3 family homes along the way. We had 6 investment properties. The location does count quite a bit. So it's not about is it a bad street, it's about where is it in relation to town, where is it in relation to amenities, because that determines a good location. First home generally is where you can get it. It's what your banks will let you spend, you know, to get you into a house. So once you're in that house, you want to be, and you're going to cover bright line and all that sort of stuff, aren't you? Yeah. So you want to be in there a couple of years anyway, so that you're actually allowing the market to work for you. Because you know, the fact of it is you really can't lose money in real estate. Okay, as long as you sell when you choose to and not when you have to. Okay, there were times in my life, our first house, and we sold. You guys won't even remember this time, but our mortgage rate, interest rates got up to 21%. Okay, so I had 3 little kids and we were at 21%. It was killing us. So we sold because we had to, and we made, we got back the money we paid, so we felt like we'd won. Whereas really what you want to do is you want to come out with a couple of $100,000 if you can. So, and that's about time in. So that's first thing, is real estate is a graph like that, but it basically is going up. So if you sell when you have to and it's down here, then you may lose money, but if you just can hold on, you can ride it out and it will rise, you know, will rise. We've been in a seller's market for a long time, and a seller's market is created because there is not enough stock. So we've got, you know, 5, 6 buyers for every house we've got. So until that changes, we're going to stay in a seller's market. One of the things that is creating that is that this leveraging, keep the house, keep your first home, and leverage into your next home, and now you're keeping that as an investment property, but that's stopping that house from coming to the market. So some of you are preventing the other people sitting next to you buying a house. So that is just the nature of the beast. I think that New Zealand has had huge coverage out there in the world, and we have got expats coming back. We've got parents coming in looking for houses, for Jimmy coming back from America or England or whatever, wants to come home and live in New Zealand. So I think we're a long way off from finding bargains. I haven't seen a bargain come through our company in a very long time.
Just a point, I had a customer today, their 3 children are coming back from overseas and going to be buying places.
It's regionally focused, though, isn't it? I think in Taranaki.
True.
Sorry about it, but it's probably still going to be a hard yard to get into your first home. But there might be some opportunities in some of the other regions around the country. I guess time will tell whether this region gets hit worse than we can see so far. But yeah, I think end of the day, luckily and happily, Taranaki's got some good industry behind it that's hopefully going to see us get through.
Should we be looking to set up if we do have a partner that we're buying or a friend? And then if we didn't set something up, is it too late to do it a couple of years later, or how would we do that?
Yeah. So there's a number of scenarios there. So the first one, say you're a couple and you're both purchasing a property together. If you're contributing the same amount, tipping in your KiwiSaver, and that is roughly about the same, and you're both going to be repaying the mortgage equally, it's 50-50, and the law is once you've been in a relationship for 3 years or more, your relationship property is split 50-50 in the event of a relationship failure. If one party's coming to the table with $30,000 and the other one nothing, that's when you want to start thinking about a contracting out agreement, which is basically you're contracting out of the law, which says 50-50, and saying we are actually going to split our property 70-30 in the event of us breaking up. So that's relationships. In terms of friends, and we're not seeing too much of it at the moment, because it does get a little bit fraught in that you can buy together, you know, two mates go and buy a property together, but you need to have what we call a property sharing agreement, and that sets out what the commitments and obligations are of each of those parties. So who's responsible for the insurance and maintenance? Is it 50-50 or something else? If one of you wants to sell and the other doesn't, what happens? If one of you dies, what happens? If one of you start living with your partner in the property, is that going to create an issue? So there's a whole number of issues that arise that make things a lot more complicated than you first think it is. So yeah, it's all doable. You just need to just work it out, think about it, talk about it, and then write it down, so that, you know, if the worst happens, you've got something that can tell you what has to happen rather than go and fight it out with. Tenancy agreements are really important, and due diligence on your tenant. Don't take the first tenant that walks through the door. Don't take the first tenant that offers you the most money. Do your due diligence, ask around, don't just call their referees, see if you can find someone else that knows them, see if you can even visit their current property, you know, without being too creepy about it, to see how they treat it, and take photos before you rent it out. Leave it how you want it to be left or treated, and take photos of it, because photographic proof is far easier to deal with or use as evidence for an issue down the track than, oh, it used to look like this and no, it looked like that. It's photographic proof is the best way to go.
There were things I wish I was told, or some things I was told. By my grandfather. Paint wallpaper can be changed. So you want bones, you want something solid, so a good roof, good foundations, not sagging floorboards. And the second one is that in most cases, your first home's not your forever home. And we have lots of people coming and go, oh, we found our forever home, and it's going to be like going, this is your first, you know, chances are in 5 years you are not going to be. So again, just think with the head, not the heart.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do that when you're a first home buyer, because you're like, this is it, this is this dream. But yeah, just head over heart often makes way better decisions for going down the street.
Forever home, so you're looking at, you know, to get into that second home. So from a banking perspective, put more money away, because your loan commitments are going to be higher for that next home. And if you can make that commitment whilst you're in your first home, make it a lot easier to get into that next home. You're also going to acquire, if you pay that off your loan, you're going to get more equity in it, and it'll make it easier and quicker to get into that next home.
So it's like, we're not talking about buying a house now, we're talking about you've bought the house, you've paid your first mortgage payment. Okay, now how do you feel? Because the most exciting thing is when you actually, you know, you get the house finally after what we've been going through in a seller's market. It's been very tough for people to get into houses. So once you get into your house, just stop and just enjoy what you've just purchased, because it's been a long haul for a lot of you to get into a house, and now it's just use your youth, your energy, your vitality, your imagination, and work with what you got. So what I mean by that is that you get that first mortgage payment, and yeah, it might be a bit better than your rental payment, but you've still got rates and insurance, and you've still got that home ownership thing over your head as far as a responsibility, if you like. So what I would say is use that energy and do the things that don't cost money first. So if you've got money left over, great, but you know, start with gardens, rip out old scrubby things and just put basic plants in it, and just change what you can without throwing too much money at it before you start looking at, now what am I going to do to increase the value? Because that does come into it, and you should. Like what Paul's saying, is you want to be increasing the value of that property with what you do to it, but don't throw money in the wrong places, and don't throw money too soon. I always recommend you live in a house for 3 months before you start doing that. Having said that, my second house, I literally had the keys and my brother was there cutting a hole in the wall. So that turned out well, by the way, that one.
I think it's worth spending in terms of ratio to cost to house price.
Where is your location?
Maryland.
You can't really lose in Maryland, so you'll be fine. If the house you've got as an investment to step up to, you need to have it as low maintenance possible. Tenants do not look after, excuse me if any of you are tenants, but tenants do not look after the yard. It doesn't matter what they tell you, they're lying. You know, and if they look after the yard, they'll forget to pay the rent. So just, I always think if you're going to get an investment property and it's not a low maintenance, add on to the rent and have a yard worker go in there, because they will not look after it. You don't want to pull weeds out for somebody else's house. I mean, let's face it. So low maintenance really is concrete jungles. You know, the more concrete there is, the less thing there is to grow. You can do streamlined stuff. You see some really beautiful yards where they're stoned and, you know, they've got the weed mat and stuff like that. Coming back to when you're in your first home, you don't have to go out and buy weed mat. You know, cardboard works really well. Does exactly
old
the same
carpets,
thing. Old carpets, all of that stuff. You know, stuff that we're a throwaway world. We think we just let's rip this old carpet out, cut it up and put it in your garden and put the dirt on top of that. It works better than weed mat. You know, and it's using what you have without having to spend the money. Remember, we're trying to create equity for you. So it's about you using your money wisely there. You know, low maintenance, you can say, well, you know, you should have the newer it is, or the aluminium joinery and all that sort of stuff, which all of that makes things low maintenance. But obviously when you're buying first homes, they're not always like that. They're normally the rattly windows and the no insulation and stuff like that. So do stuff that makes your lifestyle while you're living in there better, because that will also work for your tenants. So it's also that. Provinces are attracting, you know, the big city. They can't afford it up there. It's not that they're coming down here and they're loaded. It's just they're coming down here because they can't afford up there.
And first home buyer in Auckland, $850.
Yeah, exactly.
$900.
Yeah.
And they start thinking about, well, actually, it's more about lifestyle. You know, you guys are all young. I'm the oldest person in this room.
It'll be interesting too, I think, to see that phenomenon that has been developed or forced over COVID, with everyone having to be working remotely.
Yeah.
And so now people, you know, I hear people anecdotally saying, well, I can have a job in Auckland and live in New Plymouth, and that's fine. I can get the Auckland income, but be able to afford the New Plymouth lifestyle. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, whether that starts to make a difference. Probably it doesn't help any first home buyers.
The other key on that is that the LVR. So if they move LVR restrictions from 70 to 80 for rental properties, what does that make it easy for? Investors. So investors that have got, that's what they do full time. All of a sudden, if I can release 10% out of all my other properties, I can probably afford to buy another 4 properties.
And especially because the rents are so high. Because again, the accommodation situation is actually quite dire. I mean, I don't know if any of you have tried to rent a house, but there's just nothing out there either for those.
Tenancy services templates are what you should use. They're well known and understood, pretty well written. And if you need some help to complete it, then we're more than happy to help. But you should use those documents, and then make sure you record, you know, the terms accurately, and take photos.
I suppose that was hard won to get to a good template over a number of years.